Ark Survival Evolved. You're ready to find your forever home on an official or unofficial server. Well, stick with me and I'll show you how to choose. This is Pixie Willows, and I've been playing Ark Survival Evolved for about a year and a half now, and gaming for decades. So you've played single player and you're ready to go out and find maybe a PvE or a PvP server. How do you choose? For me, I go through the process. I had chosen initially the official servers, and then I'm like, well, it's so slow. It's agonizing. Let me try these unofficial servers. So these are the ones that I typically choose from. And what I do is, for this thing in particular, for our video, I chose PvE because I didn't want to get into a PvP server and potentially show you the potential bad side, someone jumping me while I'm trying to show you things and how to choose. So I chose PvE, and if you see, I typed in the name filter cluster. What is a cluster? A cluster server. Basically, it's a cluster of maps. They're never quite the same. It just all depends on, what you find, and you would then type in potentially their name. When you find one that looks good, is it boosted drops? Do they have tech drops, modded drops? How quickly do you gain experience? You can see some things like that where it'll say 15, 25 times boosted, things like that. This one, it just said boosted tech XP cluster. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and try this out. It might be within the realm of what I find fun. And that's the other thing. Do you want to be handed everything, basically? You want to gather one thing one time and you have like thousands of like fruit or thousands of meat or okay. So then you'd find a server that did that. Maybe you want something that is a little easier than the regular single player part, and that would be like maybe a 10 to 25 times experience kind of thing. Anything beyond that, and you're basically being handed things. So you can see here, I got in, and I'm about to have to start my character, but unofficial servers, they have rules, and some want you to just read the rules and abide by the rules. And typically, all of them will say, do not make your survivor name human. You will not be allowed to stay. You have to have a name. Because typically people that start a character and name it human, the default name, are only really wanting to upset people. Catfish, whatever you want to call it. So you'll read the rules. I made a point of seeing that I was pretty close to where the rules were going to be, and they're typically on a board or a signage, something like that. And so I'm creating my character, thinking, okay, I'm going to take a few minutes and I'll get my bearings, see how quickly or slowly, since it wasn't super descriptive, you're handed things on this particular server. And I did make a mental note of the other servers, maps, the other maps that this particular cluster server offers, which was pretty cool. Excuse me, I have a cold and I'm trying to get over it. So I'm going through and thinking, okay, these are the things that I need to check out first. Don't start making your home right away, especially if you're not sure how quickly or slowly it's going to go for you, and if you're going to be happy here. Why even clutter up someone else's server if you're not going to stay, right? So then, of course, I'm choosing my name, and it's going to be Pixie Willows. There's no doubt. This is Pixie Willows, right? So I've chosen the name, and let's go ahead and go in. And we are going to decide, for me anyway, if this works or not. All right. So, yeah, we're loading in. I'm pretty stoked. I'm like, okay, it's got modded drops. Modded drops are those, those things that could right there, right in front of me. Basically, on unofficial servers, especially, modded drops mean like really cool stuff. You can end up with, like in the higher end, the higher level ones, you can end up with like tech gear and tech items, and, it just makes your life easier. And yes, you are being given these things, but you have to be a certain level to open them anyway, so you've already put some time in. So I'm running over to check and see what white is always like the beginner one, and the yellow ring around it means that it's modded. So it's a modded white drop, you know. So I'm looking to see what level you need to be to open it. I'm like level 3. Okay, she must be level 1. Let me harvest. I'm like, oh, 400, 1200, 400. Okay. And now I'm encumbered. Let me go ahead and put these points in, is what I'm thinking. Let's see how radically my things change, which it was an obscene amount. So I'm going in and I'm like, okay, let's see what this offers. And I died. That's a first indicator. If you put some points in and you die, if you put it into health or water, let's say, food and water, you put points in there. You still have the same amount of food and water. You just increased what you can, what you can hold in your body, right? So you shouldn't die just by increasing food and water. What does that indicate? That indicates that the consumption rate on this server is high. Basically, the person set everything to high without realizing that they needed to lower the consumption rate. Or maybe they want it that way. Maybe that's why this is like a survivalist, pro-survivalist thing. Maybe they like having to eat and drink obscene amounts of food to survive. I don't know. Maybe it's a new server and they haven't set, they haven't set things specifically to the way they want it yet. Maybe they're just getting in, because I think Crystal Isles map started in the last couple days, so that would mean that maybe they started this cluster within the last few days and they just need to get in and just straighten things out. But this is indicating to me, for the moment, okay, day and night just went like that. It was 30 seconds. It was daytime, then it was nighttime. You can see it's nighttime. And she had already died, and she needs water, and she needs food. It had gone back up after you die in there, everything goes back up to a full amount, full stomach, full hydration. So that's also another indicator. It only been a few minutes in game. My total length of this video before I cut things out was like 10 minutes. Anyway, so I chose, basically, I'm choosing at this point not to stay on this unofficial server because the consumption is just too quick for me, and it hands things just a little bit too easily. So I hope this helps you decide. This is Pixie Willow saying make sure you remember to smack that like button, ring the alarm bell to be notified when I put out another video, and subscribe, but only if you want to. Have a fabulous day.